Hi, my name is Eddie Rainier, and today we're going to show you an easy and inexpensive way to update your kitchen. As you can see, these cabinets are in need of some help. They're probably from the 1970s, but they're still in good shape. So what we're going to do is walk you through the steps on how to turn your old dark cabinets into something light, bright, and updated. Our first step was to remove all the items from the inside of the cabinet. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and take off all the hardware from the doors. After you remove your hardware, keep it all together. In this case, we used a plastic cup. Now when removing your doors and drawers, it's always a good idea to label them. That way you know where they go back for the reinstall. I like to use a number punch that'll number behind the hinges. Pull out your trash bin, then remove that hardware. Remove the drawers, and this will open everything up for sanding. And don't forget the shelf liner. At this time, everything is removed from our cabinets, including the shelf liner. So now we're going to go ahead and prepare our surface for primer. And to do that, we're going to use some 120 grit sandpaper with a palm sander and some just hand sandpaper to get into all the nooks and crannies. But before we do that, it's a good idea to go ahead and grab some plastic and mask off any openings, cover up your furniture or appliances to prevent them from getting dusty. So when masking off your openings, have some pre-cut tape ready to go. It makes for an easier application. Now that all of our plastic is up, we went ahead and grabbed the drop cloth, and that's going to protect our floor when we're sanding and for painting as well. Also, you want to go ahead and grab yourself a dust mask for when we're sanding. I always start with the palm sander to get the majority of the surfaces. At times, the surface might need some repair. In this case, we're going to use some Bondo. On a piece of scrap wood, put a fair amount of Bondo, squirt out some hardener, and then mix it up with a spackle blade. If you mix a lot of hardener with the Bondo, it will set up within 2 to 3 minutes. Then, you're ready for some more sanding. If possible, set up a dust-free area to prepare your trash bin, doors, and drawers for painting. Then, set up a work area outside to sand everything. For me, the tailgate on my truck and an old towel was the most convenient outside work area. Again, start with the palm sander with 120 grit sandpaper and sand whatever you can. Then, go back with a piece of sandpaper and sand the areas that the palm sander couldn't get. With our drawers, I sanded every surface all except for the bottom. As you can see, our home-built trash bin also needed some Bondo repair. Here I'm using a 120 grit sanding drum and a drill motor. Finally, we'll sand both sides of our cutting board, and later on we'll go ahead and put some vegetable oil on it, no paint. I like to use blue painter's tape to mask off any areas that we don't want any paint on. Let's get started with our primer coat. All the surfaces that we don't want paint on have blue tape. So now we're safe to go ahead and get some painting done. So we went ahead and poured some primer in our pan. Now it's time to get a little paint on the roller. And when you're painting cabinets, it's always a good rule to start from the inside out. Otherwise, it could be a mess. Here, the primer coat revealed that we need a piece of trim underneath the countertop. For this particular trim, we're going to use a 1/4 inch piece of pine, 1.5 inches wide. We're going to go ahead and measure just a 1/16 larger than the opening, cut it, and then you have a nice snug fit. Go ahead and mount this piece of wood with finish nails, or if you have one, a nail gun. Now that our trash bin, doors, and drawers are sanded, let's prepare to paint. With blue painter's tape, go ahead and mask off the drawer guides. With our primer coat, we're going to start by painting the bottom of the drawer fascia. Then, turn your drawer over and finish the front section with a good roll. Then, carry on with the inside of the drawer and outside walls. I like to cut in all of the corners first with a brush, then come back with the roller, and that helps eliminate all the visual brush strokes. Start on the back of the door, painting the perimeter with your brush. Then, flip your door over and roll out the front. With the trash bin, I like to go ahead and paint the whole inside first. At this point, we have a coat of primer on every surface that's going to be painted. Now that your primer is dry, go back very gently with some 220 grit sandpaper and just smooth out all of your surfaces. And remember not to over sand your corners. And don't forget a good cleanup. The primer coat revealed a few extra holes on the back of this door, so we're going to go ahead with some joint compound and cover those up and give it a nice light sand. At this point, every part of the cabinet, inside and out, as well as our doors and drawers, have been given a coat of primer. Then we went back with some 220 grit sandpaper and made it nice and smooth for our next coat of paint. Now we're going to go ahead with some bare, ultra pure white semi-gloss and paint the inside of our drawers and the inside of our trash unit. Okay, now it's time to have some fun. We already went ahead and painted the inside of the cabinets the same color as the wall. Now we're going to go ahead and grab some blue tape, tape off that new paint that we just painted, grab our semi-gloss bare paint, and paint the outside and the fascia of the cabinets. Besides the primer, we're using 3 different types of paint. The inside of the cabinets is a flat Navajo white, the outside of the cabinets is a semi-gloss Navajo white, and the inside of the drawers and trash bin is a semi-gloss white. Notice I start and finish each section about the same way. I go ahead and cut in any corner and then roll out the brush strokes the best I can. As you can see, the blue tape really does make this job go a lot faster. I go ahead and cut in on my corners and roll out all the flat surfaces. And this will be the first of 3 coats of paint. And just a reminder, the inside of the drawer cabinet will not get painted because the paint will mess up the tracks. Now with our finished coat of paint on the doors, again I start with the back of the door, I paint the perimeter, and then go ahead and flip it over and paint the front. Let that dry, and then we'll flip it over and paint the back. And that'll be the first coat. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up our drawers. Now last night while painting the doors, I went ahead and just gave the front of the drawers just a coat of paint. Now today, we're going to wrap the perimeter of the inside of the drawer with blue tape and come back and go ahead and finish up our drawer fronts with our first coat. And just a little reminder, in between every coat of paint, you want to go ahead with your 220 sandpaper and just give it a nice light sand, real light, just to make it nice and smooth and take care of the bumps. At this point, the inside of the trash bin and the drawers all have 3 coats of semi-gloss white. Now we're going to go ahead and paint the perimeter of the drawer front and then roll it out. Now with our second coat of paint, same thing. Go ahead and paint the back perimeter first, and then flip it over and put a coat on the front. These little blue pyramids are perfect for holding your project off of the workbench. Now go ahead and finish up with your third coat of paint on the whole project. After hanging all of the doors and putting in all the drawers, we decided to go ahead and put some magnetic catches on the back of the doors. After you find the placement for your magnet and your metal, go ahead with an awl and give yourself a pilot hole and then screw it in. Perfect. Here we have a soft, spongy liner for our drawers and shelves. Go ahead and get your measurement, transfer that to your piece, and with a pair of scissors, go ahead and cut it. Not only does the liner protect the shelves and drawers, but it also gives it a nice finished look. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us on phase 2 of our kitchen cabinet painting project. On our next video, what we're going to do is show you how to transfer a base cabinet door into a recycle bin or trash bin area. And we'll show you the final completion of the whole kitchen being painted. My name is Eddie Vernier, and we'll see you next time.